Hey everybody, welcome back to Adventures in Old Fashions. I'm hanging out here at camp waiting for my dinner to finish stewing. So I thought I'd take the opportunity and show you guys around where I'm camping tonight. It's dark and overcast, and it'll probably storm tonight at some point. Um, I'm camping on the edge of this lake called Cataract Lake. Not ideal because the wind's blowing off the lake, but this is about the only spot I could find to set up camp. There's springs that are feeding in to the lake, and most of the rest of the shoreline was very marshy, very soft. And we're in a canyon, so this is about the only spot that's flat. Not too bad. I got the tent set up, angled against the wind, and then I set my tarp up as kind of a skirt around the bottom of the rain fly so that I don't get the wind blowing up my skirt. So I should be all right. I know it's going to be pretty cold tonight. It's just at the altitude. Trying to think here. So, yeah, I'm at about 12,250 feet elevation. That's why it's taken my dinner so long to cook. It took forever to get it to come to a boil. And I don't know how much fuel I burned, probably twice as much as I normally would to bring the 2 cups to a boil. I'm not happy about camping this high, but like I said, the next spot that I could have camped was way out of my mileage for what I had left for daylight. So this was the best option I had available based on kind of where I found myself at the end of the day. Not real happy about sleeping this high up either. There's issues with sleeping at higher altitudes. I've never had altitude issues, but that doesn't mean that they can't happen, and they're more likely to happen at higher altitudes. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll be able to bust out several miles and kind of get back down into that, 10,000-ish range. I feel a lot better down there. Trees are down there, so I can get a lot more, cover, wind breaks, things like that. But just kind of give you a little rundown of how things went today. It was a pretty good day. I slept at that yurt last night. So I decided that I didn't want to get caught up on the wide open mesa with the storms coming in last night. And it was a good thing I did because there was a few that rolled in over the course of the night. I thought I was going to have the place all to myself, but lo and behold, right about dark, another hiker comes in. And it's funny because I met him before. He's a CDT hiker. His name's Sundance, like Butch Cassidy's a Sundance Kid. And as I asked him, he's like, yeah, that's what it is. Nice young guy from back east, the Virginia's area. But he is doing the CDT. He's already done the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest. So this is his Triple Crown. And he's done a few other trails too, the Florida Trail and some other ones. Very knowledgeable, and especially for being a young guy, very trail-wise, which was great because I kind of picked his brain about a few things that I, didn't know if I was doing the best way. And he kind of, gave me some advice on how, a lot of the other guys do it, gear-wise, things like that. But we had a really good conversation in the evening, and, it was nice to get to know him. But Mike, he was one of the 2 guys at the 100-mile mark. He was the one that never filters his water. And sure enough, he doesn't filter his water. He'll treat it with Aquapure. He said about 1 out of every 7 times he gets water, he treats it. If he feels it's kind of a sketchy source, he'll treat it, but he despises filtering water. And I mean, I guess he hasn't got sick yet, so, knock on wood for him. But yeah, it was funny. This morning we both loaded up water by the yurt there's a spring that's flowing right now, because this lake where I'm at, it was the next water source, and it was 10 miles. So yeah, it was one of those things where we didn't want to run dry. But yeah, he just dips his water bottle right in the spring and pulls it out and starts drinking. I'm like, dude, look around. There's elk shit everywhere. You could see the footprints where they're walking through this spring. And he's like, oh yeah. So then he sits down and he gets a little vial of the treatment out, and he treats the water. But oh man, to be young with an iron stomach, right? Uh, so we parted ways basically because hikes so much faster than I do. But yeah, he's getting down to where he's got about a month left, about 1,000 miles for the CDT, and I'm getting down to where I've got, as of tonight, just over 100 miles on the CT. So depending on how the weather goes and how my mileage goes, I'm looking at about a week, and I could be done here. We'll just see how the weather holds out for me, and if I have to ride out any storms here in the high country. Again, knock on wood, right? But yeah, so today hit a couple of milestones, and if you look in the videos, I'm going to upload them. I crossed the highest point on the CT, 13,271 feet, I think, going up over this pass, and then again, like always, down into a little valley, and then back up over another saddle that was just shy of 13,000 feet, like 12,900 and some change. So that took quite a bit out of me. I only got in about 13 miles today. And again, I did lay up about an hour shy of what I could have pushed. But again, in the high country up here with the canyons and everything's on a slope. Nothing's flat. Campsites are hard to come by. So there's a couple of kind of semi-established ones around this lake. And I can tell that during the summer months, it gets heavier use. There's remnants of old campfires and things like that. So I figured, better take what I can get when I can get it, instead of trying to push for another mile or two and then find myself at dark on a rocky slope where I can't set up camp. So that's where I find myself. And again, worst places to be set up. I mean, it is gorgeous up here, for being as kind of, open and I don't want to say barren, but, it's nice to camp in trees for a lot of reasons. But I think my ramen and chicken is done. So I'm going to have myself a nice hot meal, bundle up in layers, because even in the yurt last night, I was cold. Should have had a fire. I spent the afternoon occupying myself splitting wood, because they have a wood pile there. And they're like, hey, there's a sign that says, if you're going to burn wood, split some wood. So I'm out there splitting wood. And I got thinking to myself, you're by yourself in the middle of nowhere. Why are you swinging the splitting maul around any more than you have to? That's just asking for, a mishap. So I quit splitting wood, and I was going to have the fire last night when I was going to have the place to myself. But when Sundance came knocking on the door, we got to talking, and then ate dinner, and then it got to be kind of late to be starting a fire. But hindsight, I should have just started a little one, just to take the chill out of the air and just to keep it from getting as cold as fast as it did. Because even in the yurt last night, it got down to where it was right around freezing. So I imagine it'll be up here in the tent, it'll be below freezing tonight. So I'll be layering up. I'm going to try a couple of different options. I'm actually going to break open my winter gear and get out my puffy jacket and my fleece stuff tonight. See how I do. But I'll let you know. Take care.